The story of Sarah, a dream to fly. Sarah was born in a small town surrounded by beautiful green hills, where the scent of fresh flowers filled the air. The village was peaceful, and the sky above was always clear and blue. Despite the natural beauty, life in the village wasn't easy. Sarah's family lived in a modest house at the edge of town. It wasn't big or luxurious, but it was filled with love. They didn't have much money, but they had each other, and that was enough for them. Sarah's father worked as a mechanic, fixing old machines and vehicles in a small garage. It wasn't a glamorous job, but it provided for the family. Her mother worked as a seamstress, making clothes for the villagers. She spent hours each day sewing, her fingers moving quickly and skillfully over the fabric. But even with all their hard work, there was never enough money to do the things Sarah dreamed of. Sarah was the oldest of 4 children. She had 2 younger brothers, Jack and Noah, and a little sister named Lily. The house was often filled with the sound of her siblings playing, running around, and laughing. But sometimes it was also filled with the worries of everyday life, how to pay the bills, how to buy enough food, and how to keep the family going. From a young age, Sarah had one big dream that seemed impossible in her small town: to fly. Every day after school, she would climb to the top of the hill near their house, sit on a rock, and watch the birds soar high in the sky. She loved how they glided gracefully through the air, their wings spreading wide and carrying them effortlessly over the land. She would close her eyes and imagine what it would feel like to fly herself, to see the world from above, to feel free and powerful. But Sarah knew that flying was a luxury only the rich could afford. She had never seen a plane in her town, and she didn't know anyone who had ever flown. There were no airports, no flying schools, and no one to teach her how to make her dream a reality. Still, Sarah refused to give up. She was determined that somehow, one day, she would fly. She loved to read, and every book she could find about flying, she devoured. She read about pilots, airplanes, astronauts, and the science behind flight. She learned that there was a lot to know about aerodynamics, weather, navigation, and many other things. Sarah knew that she couldn't just wish for her dream to come true. She needed to work for it. One day, when Sarah was about 14, she overheard a conversation between some visitors from the city. They were talking about a flying school opening in the nearby city. Her heart raced with excitement when she heard the words "flying school." She quickly approached the group, hoping they had more information. "Excuse me," she said, her voice shaking with anticipation. "Did you say there's a flying school in the city?" One of the visitors, a woman in a neat suit, smiled at Sarah. "Yes, there's a new flying school in the city," she replied. "It's a bit expensive, though. Not many people in small towns can afford it." But Sarah didn't care about the price. She had to go. This was her chance. She couldn't let it slip away. The moment she returned home, Sarah rushed to tell her parents about the flying school. "Mom, Dad, there's a flying school in the city. I want to go there. I want to become a pilot." Her mother and father exchanged concerned glances. They were proud of Sarah's dreams, but they were also practical people. "Sarah," her mother said gently, "it's very expensive. We can barely afford to buy the things we need. How can we pay for flying lessons?" Sarah's father nodded. "We can't afford that kind of education, Sarah. It's a dream for people who have money." But Sarah wasn't ready to give up. She couldn't. "I'll find a way," she said firmly. "I'll work hard. I'll do anything I can to save enough money to make this dream come true." And so Sarah did. She began working around the house, taking on more chores to help her mother. She watered the garden, cleaned the house, and even helped her neighbors with their errands. Every day, after school and before the sun set, she worked. It wasn't easy, and sometimes she was tired and wanted to rest, but she kept her eyes on the prize. She knew she had to keep going. As the weeks went by, Sarah's savings grew little by little. She also found other ways to earn money. She helped the local farmers carry heavy baskets of vegetables to the market, and she even did small jobs like washing windows and sweeping the streets. Every coin she earned went into a jar that she kept hidden under her bed. But it wasn't just about money. Sarah knew she needed to prepare herself for the flying school. She began to study English more seriously. She practiced every day, reading books in English, learning new words, and watching videos about airplanes and flying. She practiced speaking, even though there were no one else to speak English within the town. Sarah believed that the more she learned, the closer she would get to her dream. After months of hard work and dedication, Sarah finally had enough money to take the bus to the city. It was a long, tiring journey, but the thought of the flying school kept her going. When she arrived, she was amazed. The school was large and modern, with a beautiful building and planes parked outside. She had never seen anything like it before. She felt both nervous and excited. She met the school director, a man named Mr. Thompson, who listened carefully as Sarah explained why she wanted to be a pilot. "You've worked very hard to get here, Sarah," he said after hearing her story. "But becoming a pilot is not just about paying for lessons. It requires hard work, intelligence, and dedication. Are you ready for that?" Sarah nodded without hesitation. "I'm ready. I want to learn. I'll work harder than anyone else." Mr. Thompson smiled. "You may be young, but you've shown me your passion. I'll allow you to start training, but know this, it won't be easy. You will face many challenges." Sarah's heart soared with excitement. She was finally going to take the first step toward her dream. The next few years were not easy. The lessons were difficult. Sarah struggled with some of the technical terms and the complexity of flying. She often felt frustrated and tired, especially when things didn't come as easily as she had hoped. But each time she felt like giving up, she remembered her promise to herself and her family. She remembered how hard she had worked to get there. Sarah's English improved significantly as she studied more, and soon she could understand everything the instructors said. She practiced speaking, flying simulations, and even spent long hours at the library reading books on aviation. One day, After many months of training, Sarah was finally ready for her first flight. The instructor, Captain Harris, was kind but firm. He gave her the controls and instructed her to take off. Sarah's heart raced as the plane began to move down the runway. She followed the instructions carefully, her hands steady on the controls. As the plane lifted off the ground, Sarah's eyes filled with tears. She was flying. She was soaring through the sky, just like she had always dreamed. "Congratulations, Sarah," Captain Harris said with a smile. "You've done it. You're a natural." Years later, Sarah became a successful pilot for a major airline. She traveled the world, flying to countries she had once only read about in books. She saw the beauty of the oceans, the mountains, the deserts, and the bustling cities from above. But no matter how far she went, Sarah never forgot her roots. She often returned to her small town, where she would visit her parents and tell the children there about her journey. She would tell them, never stop dreaming. Work hard, learn everything you can, and believe in yourself. No matter where you come from, your dreams are possible. And Sarah's story inspired countless others to pursue their own dreams. She became a symbol of hope and determination, showing everyone that with hard work, resilience, and a bit of belief in yourself, anything is possible.